Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the first time in a long time. I am Webimoto, you can call me Matt, and we've got F1 2017 fired up. And yeah, like I said, it's been a long time since I streamed. Moved house, all kinds of cool stuff. And what we're going to do today, because it's the first, today's qualifying for the first race of the 2018 Formula 1 season. What we're going to do here is we're going to do the Australian Grand Prix just for a bit of a laugh. So we'll going to do it in some modern cars. We're going to choose what should be a competitive car, and how should we go for? I'm thinking Mercedes or Ferrari. I mean, I guess the Red Bull will be competitive to actually try and be competitive and actually win the race. But I think we might go Ferrari, and we might choose Kimi Räikkönen. We're gonna have it at Australia. Weekend tire allocation doesn't look right. Let's don't want practice, but we do want qualifying. We'll do full qualifying we'll turn the formation lap on just for a laugh. Race start to be manual, and we'll do a 100% race, and we'll leave it on 100 legend. And maybe we'll go balance just in case things don't go well for us in the race. We've got an extra set of super softs there we could go to theoretically to try and get through. If we had to mess with some strategy, maybe if we have a tough race at the start, I don't know. That's cool. I think that's it. Dynamic weather. Usual TC medium. I usually just turn that on, mainly because it just makes the car a bit more fun to drive. Cool. That's cool. Let's do it. So I hope everybody's excited for the new Formula 1 season. This is probably the least excited I've been as a Formula 1 fan for a very, very long time. In fact, ever. But I'm hoping that the season will surprise me.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for...
Yeah. Oh, hey, 1 Inch Man. Wait for this guy to shut up. Terrific. So, am I hyped for the new season? So, as I was just saying before, probably not as much as I have been in previous seasons. I think that the Halo's a huge turn off for me, and I wish it wasn't, but it is what it is. It's I remember what the buttons are here now to actually do anything. There we go. I'm worried that Mercedes are going to be dominant again. The last season was good because of the competitiveness, but I am worried that that Mercedes are going to have an advantage over the field, similar to what they may have had in 14 through to 16. I hope that's not the case, but I fear it might be. And the Halo's a turn off for me. I was watching practice yesterday, and it's just... Oh, the cars look so bad. The onboard cameras, I can't believe that that FOM...
is all about weight transfer. When you break the center,
wait for this guy to shut up.
Forward. When you accelerate, it moves rearward, and when you turn, it is pushed to the outside of the car. More load on each tire equals more grip.
Yes.
So make sure you're smooth with the controls to prevent the weight transfer from...
There we go. Let's pause it whilst I finish off. Yeah, so I just worry that the onboard cameras look so bad with the Halo. I hope they fix those up. I know they've got some rule issues to deal with before they can get to that point. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not enthused. Let me just say, the cars look terrific. If it wasn't for the Halo, the cars this year, they just look great. They look aggressive. Some of the stuff that the teams have done is just, the cars look fantastic. I really, really like the cars. It's a move back towards the sort of mid-2000s, and I'm very happy with that. But the Halo looks so bad. It looks so bad. And I just hope that that maybe we move to something where they either get rid of it or come up with a better way of integrating with the car. You know, maybe we'll get used to it. Whatever, it sucks. And you're also saying first time in 48 years no Brazilians are on track. Yeah, that does suck. Brazilian drivers have played such a big role in Formula One for a long time. If you go back to, the Fittipaldis, obviously Ayrton Senna. Even when you think of guys like even Massa and Barrichello. It's a big surprise to not have a Brazilian on the grid, or a big change, I should say. But I am Australian, so I can lament with you because obviously before Mark Webber, after Alan Jones and Mark Webber, apart from a couple of races by David Brabham in the early 90s with the Simtech team, we went a long time without a driver on the grid as well. So hopefully not too long. I mean, Brazil produces really, really good what am I trying to say? Open wheel races. So I would imagine it won't be too long and there'll be another Brazilian back in the sport. But yeah, it sucks not to have anybody who you can really get behind on the grid. It's very easy for me with Daniel Ricciardo. Doubles of the fact that he's really likable kind of guy. That it's good to have somebody you can really get behind and support and not have to feel bad about it. Because they're actually also a good person. Alright, I better actually take this car out on track.
User entered your channel.
Yep.
Azad, welcome to the stream.
Oh, I was going to ask if you were streaming.
I am streaming. For the first time in a long time. I'm doing some streaming of F1 2017. Actually, you could contribute to this, because just been asked a question, which is hyped for the new season. And I think your answer is going to be about as ambivalent as mine was.
Yeah, the hype kind of went down the Halo toilet for me.
It looks so bad. Did you see the onboard cameras?
I did.
Oh, it's lagging for you, is it?
I was just trying to load it up.
Let me know if it's lagging for you as well. Actually, the first time I've streamed since I moved house, so.
Oh, yep.
Let me take the car out on track and we'll see what that's like.
All complete. Mechanics, please stand clear.
I'm going to do a 100% Australian Grand Prix in a Ferrari.
Oh, yeah. It's actually very close.
What's that?
The timing of everything is very close to real time.
That's better than my last setup, yeah? Now, I have done very little driving on this game for a long time, so I'm not expecting great things, but... Did you watch any of practice yesterday, Hazard?
I did watch a bit of it.
What did you think actually seeing the cars drive around with the Halo?
I didn't like it.
I was looking at it and honestly thinking that I don't think I'll ever get used to it.
No.
I don't think there's any way I'll get used to it.
Especially the T-cam view.
Oh yeah, they've got to change the cameras. They look awful. I'm so out of practice on this game. I'll be surprised if I make it to Q3. But I am also worried that Mercedes are going to have margin on the field.
So far, they've certainly got the edge, but it's very wet down there today.
Yep, that's very true. Well, it might dry out by this afternoon. And I think it's such a shame because the car, if it wasn't for the Halo, the cars look really cool.
Yeah, I like them.
If only they can do away with the halo, it'll be the best looking cars I've had in 10 years. Oh, I wiped off a bit too much speed there. Alright, that's not a good lap, I don't think, but take it back to the pits and we'll see how we go. Another comment here. Let me just drag up my screen so I can actually see it. Oh, there we go. Maybe with the new rules against oil burst, Mercedes loses a little advantage, but I think no team can reach them. Yeah, I agree. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope that... I want that screen. I really hope that... screen I want.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1:24.9.
That's not bad. Half a second off Hamilton, although he's on the super soft. The fact that it was slower than Perez is a concern, but hopefully we'll have enough to get through Q1. Yeah, I hope so too. I really hope that it's more competitive, but I do fear after pre-season testing and the way things look yesterday that Mercedes are just gonna stretch that gap a little bit, and you know, we'll have another season of Hamilton walking away with the championship. I really hope not, but I fear it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, I guess. Button 7, I can't remember what that is on my wheel. It really is a long time since I played this game. Oh, it's not that one. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I can certainly understand that. I thought Felipe... Look, Felipe was always okay. I thought that Ferrari hung on to him for too long after his accident. It looks like we're pretty safely through here, but I need to find a lot of time. Look at that, 1.2 off Seb on in the same car on the same tire. You can tell I'm out of practice. That'll do. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought with the exception of obviously Ferrari keeping him on for too long after 2009, that he's a good solid driver. But yeah, he complained a little bit too much for me. But yeah, that's a small complaint to make about it. He is very solid. I think he was a better driver before his accident. You know, actually, speaking of Massa, I'll just pause this quickly to talk about this so I don't lose too much time. Speaking of Massa, it's Massa's accident in 2009 that gives me concern about the Halo. So, I mean, I know that the top bar is quite above the driver's helmet, or, you know, it's pretty close. But currently, well, before 2000 and, you know, before this year, before 2018, there was no downward deflection point. There was no downward deflection capability. There was no ability for anything to bounce or ricochet off something and down into the cockpit. Like if you look at a Formula One car from previous generations, there's not really anything where something could strike a surface and deflect down into the cockpit and strike the driver in an unprotected area. I think one of the reasons I got a problem with the Halo is I believe that it actually does introduce a downward deflection point into the cockpit. If something came off at an acute angle from the bottom of the Halo, that could deflect down into the cockpit. So, I mean, I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, it's one of the fears I've got with the Halo, and I feel that the FIA has done it for the wrong reason, personally. I feel like they've done it to avoid being litigated if there was an accident, rather than actually choosing the best solution for the sport going forward. Yeah, so anyway, that's one of my prime concerns with Halo, and I haven't heard anyone else speak about it, so I don't know whether I'm just plain old wrong, or it's a misread of the situation from me, but yeah, I feel like that's the reason I've got safety concerns with the Halo, is because of the downward deflection point it's introduced. I thought Barrichello was a better pilot than Massa. Yes, agree 100%. Rubens Barrichello is very, very good. He proved it at Stewart, right? They had a good car. Both he and Johnny Herbert got race wins in that car. Not very many, but actually, no, Barrichello didn't win for Stewart. Johnny Herbert did. Barrichello didn't win until 2001, I think. I'm tempted to say, at Hockenheim. Or was it 2002 at Hockenheim? Anyway, he won his first race at Hockenheim for Ferrari. So, I might have that all wrong as well. My F1 knowledge isn't what it used to be. But yeah, I thought Barrichello's superior driver to Massa for sure. Agree with that. Let's take this car out on track. What tyres have we got on it? Good. Don't think we have to worry about doing the outlap now. I've done one. Ooh, that's a lot of grip. Do that corner very well. Keep there. That'll do. There we go. First victory, Barrichello, was Hockenheim 2000. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was 2000, wasn't it? Don't know why I was thinking 0102. That's right. It was an amazing race, I remember, because it was the first victory for Brazil after the Senna era. Yeah, that's right. And I remember it was a wet-dry race, wasn't it? So he done an early switch back to the groove tires as opposed to being on the wets, if I remember rightly. And so that was when Hockenheim was in its old layout and had the big long straights from the first sector through the second sector. That guy can shut up while I'm talking. Had the big long straights and a couple of chicanes in there, and then before they cut it in half effectively, before Herman Tilke done his magic on it. Magic being a weird word to use. But I remember that the stadium section was still quite wet, so he's having to. The reason he got the win was because A, obviously he was quite fast that day, and B, because he had superior strategy. But he had to go through the stadium section late in the race, and it was quite wet, and he was there on the groove tires. I remember that part. I don't know whether it was because he was on the grooves and it started to rain and he was brave and stayed out, or whether he done an early switch. I might have that back the front. But anyway, yeah, I just remember that he was having to tiptoe through the stadium section in the wet, and he done a great job of it. Oh yeah, Senna was a boss in the wet, no doubt about that. And yeah, Barrichello was the same. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been to Brazil, but I assume you guys must get a lot of torrential rain. So drivers probably get quite experienced at driving in the wet. I think that lap might be good enough for us, and I've gone to the wrong screen again. I don't want to sit here and do qualifying all morning. I want to get to the race because it's going to be a long race. What are we? P5, still slower than Perez. In fact, I don't even think that lap was as fast as the one we done in Q1. We'll have to go.
Okay, the circuit is clear at the moment. We're good to go.
Alright, maybe we'll do another lap. Interlagos always rains. Yeah, isn't it? Interlagos isn't it? Doesn't it mean something like there's a lake or something running through it? I don't know. My Portuguese is not very good, and by that I mean it's non-existent. Tire selection. Go for Q3. I'd rather keep that set. Actually, no, let's do that because we're going to start the race in these tires. Yeah, so let's take our chances and just... Oh, I've gone to the wrong screen. It means between rivers. Cool. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, everyone. I'm not out on track at the moment. Fast forward this. I think we're fast enough to get through. I'd have to... Those guys have to find half a second to kick me out. The lap in Q3. This race started. Oh. There we go. I don't know how this race is going to go, but give it a go. All right. I should be on a fresh set of ultras. So we're going to reserve that set because we're going to start the race on those. We're going to do a second run on those. So we do have 2 new sets of ultra softs. That's awesome. Right, let's do it. Spam that button, Webby. Really carry 6 through there, I just learned. Ooh. That's not good. That cost us a lot of momentum. What we'll do is we'll back off this lap. Good. We'll back off this lap and we'll go again the next lap. Make the tyres a little bit. Enough fuel to do it. Yep. I was having a look at mods to get this thing up to date for 2018, but I didn't worry about it in the end. I heard I didn't want to introduce any instability. Alright, here we go. This is the DRS, the first attempt.
Sebastian's currently in P2.
P3. Will I go to the Grand Prix? No. I used to live in Melbourne before I moved here to Canberra. I've been many times, but no, I'm not going. Not going this year. I went for the second year of the hybrid era. I went in 2015. No, 2016. Sorry. I was there in 2016, and yeah, it was good. That was the year that Ferrari should have won, but then they screwed it up in the
Best lap so far is a
Shut up, goose. They screwed it up in the pit stops. They didn't change tires after the red flag period. The cars are very quiet, so we're able to have a conversation during the race, which was new. But yeah, I haven't been for the last couple of years. As I said, my motivation for the sport is a little bit low at the moment because of the way it is at the moment. So anyway, we will do a second run in Q3 just to see if we can go just a tad bit faster. Set of tires on. I felt like that lap was better. 24 flat. Oh yeah, we went a second faster. It was better. So we're only 3/10 off. We're only 3/10 off Seb now. But 6/10 off pole position. Oh, let's get out there. Have another go. Definitely out of practice though.
We're seeing Sebastian putting in faster times right now.
That was a bit fast there. No too much speed in. Went wide. Ooh. That's a hack up of the track if I've ever seen one. Didn't mean that.
30 seconds left in the session.
No lock up that time there. Oh, I didn't get the car over the left as much as I wanted to. We might be able to get on the front row here though. Yes. Unless Seb goes faster at this point. Although it was made possible by hacking up turn 11. My bad. Oh, we got bumped back to third anyway. Oh, I've gone to the wrong screen. Amazing how often I do that. You got me. Bottas? Oh, come on. Immersion broken. Unrealistic. Alright, we're good. That's the end. Second row.
Why is Bottas on pole?
Oh, that's what I was saying. I'm just amazed. Like, I don't... Came out of nowhere. No, we don't need to hear you, David Croft. Message on my phone. Not sure what to watch this weekend. Oh, no, I've got that sorted out. Well, let's get rid of that, because otherwise... Oh, it's raining. Oh, good.
The crowd are here and here in force for what is going to be a fantastic day of racing. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix.
Let's skip that stuff.
Then, let's run through the grid order.
Wow, it's throwing it down as well. Awesome.
Okay, the run into turn 1 isn't too so the pack will be bunched up. Take care.
All right. Oh.
Intermediates in that weather?
Gearbox is responding normally. Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and brakes throughout the lap.
Yeah, I was thinking that. And then the front brake bias in this weather. It's Melbourne. It'll be the sun will be out by the end of the formation lap anyway. I should have really hard set the weather. There's no way I'm in good enough form to be able to do this. Alright, this is going to be good. Yeah, that's very true, 1 inch man. Even Hamilton's just as frustrating on formation laps.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Big shout out to Billy Monger, aka Billy Wiz. Here we go. Oh, no, 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 no. Wait, I had them there as well. I need to adjust that brake bias, actually.
That's a strong start. Well done.
Locked up the rears at both big stops. And again, ooh. Bloody hell, car won't stop. Oh, what is going on with this car? My PS4 controller is way too sensitive and it keeps changing between... Sorry, I'll read that. My PS4 controller is way too sensitive and it keeps changing between Xbox and PlayStation icon. How do I fix that? Sounds like it's, it might be a bit buggy. So, if you're playing on a PlayStation 4, not too sure. And it's saying Xbox, or do you mean you're playing it on the PC and it's switching? Or I'm not, because I don't know why it would be showing an Xbox icon on a PlayStation 4. So I'm not sure. If you mean you're on a PC, then you might want to uninstall the controller and reinstall it. It sounds like it might be a bit buggy. Or just try and do a driver update. And there's so much over rotation in the back of this car. Do you play it on big picture or just start the game normally? I just start the game normally. I've got a wheel. You can probably hear it across the microphone. I know the microphone picks it up. And Bottas is going to get away with this at this current rate. What's the idea with the back of my car feeling like a boat? Look at that, he's done a 44, I've done a 45 too. What's this? Then it should be... Yeah, you should, yeah, I mean, if you like it, you should definitely get it. I mean, if you like Formula 1 and like racing, then you should definitely get it. It's certainly Codemaster's best attempt. And probably better to get F1 2017 if you're not a fan of the Halo, because I don't know when F1 2018 comes out whether the Halo will be, whether you can turn it off or not in the game. I hope you can, because if not, F1 2017 will probably be the last F1 game I buy for a while.
The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while now.
On sale on Steam if you like it. Yeah, for sure. If it's, yeah, definitely back that up. I should ask Codemasters for my stream to get a commission for that then. Alright, we're starting to make up a little bit of ground on Bottas, but I'm really struggling. Not that I have to say that, because you guys can all see it. Very difficult car to drive in these conditions. Alright, so we can talk predictions for the weekend as I fly off the track at turn 13. Unfortunately, I think the prediction is that Mercedes will win. Although we might see a surprise in qualifying this afternoon my time. Because of it's currently raining in Melbourne. Not quite as bad as what it is in game, but it's raining in Melbourne. So the track might be still wet once race gets underway. Oh, we lost a lot of time that lap. Hamilton's done the fastest lap behind us.
Hamilton has just put up the fastest lap of the race so far.
Pretty quick. Hamilton pole the victory, yeah, I think that's probably likely. Unless the grid gets a bit mixed up in changeable weather conditions. Oh, that's not good, Matt. Vettel second, Bottas third. I think that's probably not a bad guess. Although the Red Bulls look pretty strong yesterday, so if they are better in the wet, then Verstappen and Ricciardo might be a threat. At least in qualifying. I don't know if they can outrace Mercedes, particularly if Mercedes have their rumoured fuel burn advantage in terms of fuel economy. And this thing really is like a boat.
Are you in P2?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. But no grip from the back of the car at all.
Wow.
Ricciardo's a good guess for the podium, though. Yeah, I think he could sneak one in. It's a very important season for Daniel Ricciardo.
I spent half of it sideways.
Oh yeah. Doing it, trying for a drifting competition. first sector. Weather update. Oh, hello. My sound thing's not working. It does that sometimes because I've got multiple microphones. Can't select it either. Well, that's helpful. Oh, no, 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 no. And now I've locked up. Why am I in rich fuel? Don't know when that happened. Anyway. Need time to make that back. Let's go to lead. We're in wet anyway, so. Hellos are out. Wonder what that's for.
Hopefully Bottas.
Oh, it's Verline.
Yeah.
Okay, the incident has been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed.
Haskell's buried in the road at turn 12. Buried in a barrier, I should say. Buried in the road. Well done, Matt. What is he? A mafia enemy. Sleeps with the fishes. Hamilton's on me.
Okay, circulation Bottas. They have an issue with their car.
Oh, Bottas has an issue with his car. Look at that.
Our teammate is 19.1
I
seconds.
think it's the driver.
Yeah. What's that gonna do? Whoops. Application starting in the background. Ooh, bad traction there. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, with Verline out, yeah, I'm just as surprised as everyone, don't worry. Hamilton's all over me. There's that rear end gone again. And again.
I wanted to ask that exact question. Why is the rear going so much?
That's a great question. I don't know. Must be the it's either my woeful driving, or it's there's something with the setup that's making it happen in the wet. It's probably my driving, but it's certainly making me uncomfortable. Probably just over driving it a little bit. Oh, bloody hell.
The gap to the leader is 3.2 seconds.
Made up a little bit of time on Bottas, actually.
Well, he did have a problem, didn't he?
Yeah. Doesn't seem to be a very significant one.
No.
You were saying that, what was it, Race Experience 3 was free to play this weekend, yeah?
Yes, that is to say it's free to play all the time, but all the paid content is also free.
Right. What's it like? I've never played it.
I think it's kind of in the same vein as R Factor. I think it originated from Symbian or something,
Yeah.
and so it plays similar. The bits that I've tried, I wouldn't rave about, but I need to try some more of it to see if I ultimately like it more than anything that I've already got. But the fact that it was VR made me think that you might like to try it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I want VR now, my only options are iRacing or Project Cars or Assetto Corsa.
Yep.
Wish they'd bring it in for Automobilista, that'd be good. Just done my fastest lap of the race. And immediately put 2 wheels in the grass down at turn 1. Yeah, Bottas is definitely slow, because I've still got Hamilton right on me and I've caught him. Now, whether that is to say Bottas's car is slow or Bottas himself is slow, that's a different discussion.
Plus 1 lap of extra fuel. Fuel target plus 1.
And our revs back up the standard now, we've got a bit of fuel. Nudge the wall, that'll teach me to try and read comments and drive. He is very slow in that corner, isn't he? Might have a run on him here. Oh, he's gone defensive. And, oh, we're going to glide straight past him, I think. Around the outside in the wet. Don't mind if I do. Ah, Hamilton's followed me through. It's unfortunate. I was hoping to get a bit of a gap.
Team orders.
Yep. Yeah, Valtteri's got an oil leak. In case anyone's wondering about the difficulty level, the cars are set to 100. Which is the borderline, I think, between Legendary and Master. And Master is 101 onwards, if I remember rightly.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I've only ever done 95.
I done my first season on 95 where I won the championship for Renault.
Yep.
So I boosted up to 100 from that point. I can't even remember where I'm up to with that second season. Around Russia or something like that. I think I'd be certainly going better if it was dry. Not being in good form with this game, having not played it for so long.
Just leading the race is not good enough.
No. I'm really struggling. I mean, I wouldn't be in the lead if it wasn't for Bottas's problem. But yeah. Watching some of the cricket last night from South Africa. They're, South Africa's in control. Well, actually, I shouldn't say in control. It's actually quite close. Australia has only got 2 wickets in hand, I think now, or 1 wicket in hand. I think we're about 20 or 30 runs behind them still. So it's actually a pretty close game. Morne Morkel took his 300th test wicket.
Okay.
All of a sudden feel like I've got a bit more grip.
You're setting purples.
And shortcutting the track at turn 12. What'd you make of Ricardo's 3-place penalty?
Well, initially disappointing, of course. But I haven't seen the incident. I said he was going too fast.
To be honest, it's a bit of a joke. The reason the red flag was put out was because there was a... Oh, I've just done the fastest lap. Oh, that's not good. So the timing line was coming up on the start-finish straight.
Yeah.
So they red flagged the session to fix it. And obviously Ricardo's nowhere near it. He's around the back of the circuit. But yeah, he went too fast through one of the mini loops, as they call them.
Yeah.
One of the sectors. And yeah. But they saw that he was trying desperately to get back underneath the delta in the last few. That's why they only gave him 3-place grid penalty. It's like, what a joke. It's the other side of the circuit. This is why, you know, why people get frustrated with the stewards at Formula 1. I mean, in all reality, what he did was zero risk involved. I mean, you could argue that he didn't know what the red flag was for. But, yeah. Meanwhile, you know, Nico Rosberg could keep a pole position after driving through a yellow flag. They changed the rules after that. It's just, how about you just be sensible with the rules rather than draconian? All you've done is going to go ahead and upset a whole bunch of home fans. giving the home driver a penalty, and for what? It's only a new rule anyway for this year. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because I'm a bit biased because obviously I'm disappointed as an Australian and as a bit of a Ricciardo fan, but Formula One's a bit silly sometimes with this kind of stuff. Particularly grid penalties. Like, fine him, go on. But, you know, don't affect the racing. The racing's bloody hard enough to get right as it is. Without actually pushing a contender further down the grid. I can see the chat's going off. They're either disagreeing with me or...
No. Someone was revising their estimate for the Grand Prix result because they said Ricciardo podium, I think, and now he's like, oh, I forgot the penalty.
Hang on. Let me pause and I'll respond and explain what he got the penalty for. Because I saw someone doesn't understand what. So Contra Libertatum has said 3-place grid penalty for what? Practice that has started. Practice was on yesterday. Practice 1 and Practice 2. So he got it in Practice 2, I believe. So what happened was that one of the timing lines on the main straight, the timing marker that runs across the start-finish line, it came up. It didn't remain deist. Is that a word? It lost adhesion to the track circuit and started coming up. So they red flagged the session to fix it. And when they threw the red flags, Ricciardo was on a lap. And so they threw the red flag. And one of the new rules for this year is the minimum time you must set in a red flag situation. It's a new rule. And what happened is that when he drove back to the pits, he was underneath the delta, which meant he was driving too fast in a red flag situation. And what they saw was that he realized that driving back to the pits and slowed right down to try and get underneath the delta, but he didn't quite do it. But because he showed that he slowed down, he only got a 3-place grid penalty and 2 demerit points off his license. Which is ridiculous. I mean, it was on the other side of the circuit, and it's a new rule, and yeah, I don't know. All it does is knock a contender out of the race, or out of contention for a front row start, or even a front 2 row start. All it does is knock him out of contention, and for what? For what risk? What risk was there? And this is the problem with Formula One as it is right now for me. It's the same with the Halo. It's like, what risk are you actually getting rid of? And what risk have you introduced? And it seems to me the FIA doesn't care about the risk they've introduced. They're only interested in looking like they're actually doing something, and it's stupid. No, not during testing. It was during free practice. Free practice yesterday. Free practice 2, I think it happened. It's ridiculous. It's a silly penalty. In all honesty, I mean, I understand safety and all that kind of thing, but it's a silly penalty. And it would be silly even if they were applying it to a Sauber or whatever at the back of the grid. It's a silly penalty, and for what? Because he was like literally he was under the delta by about 2/10 or something like that. He wasn't off by much, and it's a 3-place grid penalty for a guy who could have been on the front row in wet conditions today. It's just the sport is over penalised. It's over. It's over-judicated, and yet you see some of the stuff that was going on during the Hamilton-Rosberg battles as teammates, and some of the stuff they were doing to each other. No, we won't penalise that because it's between teammates. And then you got a guy who's slightly under a delta in a red flag situation. 3-place grid penalty, let's send him back. It was at the US, not Canada. It was at I was actually there. It was at Austin. When he took him at the last lap by shortcutting the inside of the track. Yeah, I mean that's a questionable one because you've technically cut the track to gain an advantage. But I would prefer to see racing than I would prefer to see penalties. But that's a tough one because you shortcut the track to gain an advantage, and you really can't do that. But at the same time, I much prefer, like I said, racing to penalties. Go. So I've had my rant about that now, but it's silly. So where the Ricciardo qualifies today, he's going to get a 3-place grid penalty. So even if he puts it on pole in the wet this afternoon, it's a 3rd row start. Or a 2nd row start, I should say. 4th. Yeah. I mean, everyone did it, but only Verstappen did it and actually gained a position on somebody. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Our teammate is 15.
We've locked up. We've locked up. That's not good. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I prefer to see them race it out and duke it out and just see guys get penalties all the bloody time. And they're so selective about how they apply them as well. Like I said, there was a lot of stuff that went on in the Rosberg-Hamilton battles that was pretty dirty. They left that alone because, you know, they don't like giving penalties to Lewis Hamilton. I'm just going to go out there and say that. And they don't like giving penalties to... And the reason that... Sorry, I should qualify that. The reason they don't like giving penalties to Lewis Hamilton is because he's a driver at the front of the grid, very, very popular, and they don't want to look draconian when both drivers have got their fist out. And Hamilton generally won the battles because he was, you know, just a better driver than Rosberg across the season. Or consistently faster, I should say, not better, just consistently faster at most tracks. I don't want to be controversial and say that he gets favouritism, because I don't think that's the case. I just mean that they don't like giving penalties at the front of the grid that decides championships, is how I should have framed that. And generally, you know, the only way that Rosberg was, you know, they would have felt like they were penalising Hamilton just to help Rosberg, because Rosberg was usually the victim rather than the aggressor. I hope I framed that well. I haven't got myself in trouble. I'm not scared of having a controversial opinion, but I didn't explain my position well. They don't like giving penalties to guys to, you know, in battles for the lead of the race and for championships. And generally, what happened was that Hamilton was the aggressor in those scenarios because he was usually the guy who ended up ahead. That's what I meant. Plus, he tends to carry on a little bit if he gets a penalty. It's time for wets. Yeah, I don't know. It's still the same level, and the car starting to feel like it's... Yeah, I don't know. We're never going to see another PKX Senna battle position for position again. Nowadays, they would be disqualified. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think there's another thing that means you won't see those kinds of battles ever again, and that's the DRS. So if a car comes up behind you and they've got a slight pace advantage on you, you know, for new tyres or car advantage or whatever, used to be back in the day, and even if you go back and have a look at what was the year at Monza where Hülkenberg defended Webber by cutting the chicanes constantly? What year was that? It was 09, when he was at Williams, yeah? When Hülkenberg was at Williams, that must have been like 09? Williams in 09? Or am I too early?
Checking.
Yeah.
I was thinking 2010.
Yeah, it could have been. There was a year that Hülkenberg was defending Webber by being very aggressive with his use of the white lines at Monza and at the chicanes. But defensive driving is an art, right? Where you're able to hold a driver off in a faster car. Enrique Benoldi did it, you know, against David Coulthard at Monaco one year, many moons ago, for 17th position or whatever it was. Yeah, it was like 2010 or 2011. And I'm not paying attention, and I've locked up, and I've gone wide at turn one. Good. I'm giving up a lot of time to the Mercedes here. I should really concentrate. But anyway, so I'll pause to finish his thought. So so defensive driving's an art, and the problem with the DRS is it defeats the art. So you can defend a driver for a quarter, you know, for half a lap, for a full lap, whatever, maintain position, and then they're just going to DRS glide past you on the next straight, and that's it. So I hate the DRS. I honestly do. I'd prefer to see a race with no overtakes, but, you know, chess-like battles for, you know, throughout the field that are really, really close, then I would prefer to see 50 overtakes in a race because people are gliding past with DRS. I hate the DRS.
Yep.
Now, if you want to say the DRS is cool technology, then cool, yeah, good. They should be able to use it like they could in practice and qualifying in whatever year that was, where it was free-for-all. And then some guys push the limits and had accidents because of it. That's cool. Let everyone have it all the time. Let them push the limits on it. But having the DRS effectively a push to, I mean, it's not even a push to pass because only one person's got it. You know, at least if you've got a push to pass system like IndyCar, everyone can selectively use it. It's another strategy. DRS is a joke because it takes defensive driving off the table. You might as well not even bother.
These conditions don't look like they're shifting. We're predicting at least 20 minutes of heavy rain.
Well, I gotta go, but good luck with your race.
Thanks, mate. I'll talk to you later, eh?
Yep.
No one's been pitting yet.
The gap behind us is 1.5 seconds.
Like we've got a good pace in the first sector. Might be the middle sector that's letting us down a little bit. Probably is not aggressive enough through 9, 10, 11, 12. Or we just go too deep into it. Like we're about to hit some lap traffic actually. That's taken us 20 laps. The low speed lack of mechanical grip from the rear end of the car is extraordinary. Hey, yes, Spalum. No, I use a I've got a wheel and pedals. So I have a Fanatec CS2 wheel with a Formula rim, which is awesome, and a set of Advantage A1 pedals. Ooh. Put me offline. Almost messed me up. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is just a, so I used to play quite a lot of career. I'm midway through my second season. I used to stream that when I was playing, but then I moved house and I got busy, so I haven't streamed for a while. But because it's the Australian Grand Prix this weekend, and I thought, well, I might as well try a 100% distance Grand Prix. Try and get back into it a little bit. My Saturday to good use here in Australia before free practice 3 starts this afternoon. And I was very out of practice in qualifying, but yeah, I've got used to the game again. It's been quite a while since I played. Been doing some iRacing, like done the Bathurst. Well, got about halfway through the Bathurst 12-hour, a bit less than halfway through, and binned it at the top of the mountain. Been playing some Assetto Corsa.
The gap to teammate is 12.5 seconds.
Seb's made up some time on us during this period, because the last time I heard that he was 16 behind. 2018, I wouldn't expect it until the back half of the year. Probably around August, July. At the very earliest. Most times it's actually later than that. It's more like September. Although I think we got 2017 in August last year. I'm not so sure I'll buy that because I don't think I could stomach driving the car with the halo. So if the halo isn't, if you can't turn the halo off, I don't think I'll bother buying it. Maybe I'll just apply a skin pack or something to this because 2017 is pretty damn good, you know. There's no reason to upgrade from this game unless they're actually adding some new stuff. The physics are the best that Codemasters have come up with. The gameplay is the best that Codemasters have come up with. The AI is pretty good. You know, and you can do driver mods and stuff like that to update the cars to the modern season. I just don't think I could stomach playing the game with the Halo. So I've gapped the Mercedes a little bit here, which is nice. And the fastest lap. Very inconsistent in these conditions though. I mean, I know we got held up by Ericsson on the lap before that one. That's why we lost a fair bit of time, but very tricky conditions. Not getting too much grip from the back of the car either. Are you playing career mode? Not right now. No, your English is fine. I got you, no problem. So I'm not playing career mode right now. This is just a single player Grand Prix. Just as a 100% Grand Prix, just for a bit of fun. That's why I'm Raikkonen and not myself at the moment. Yeah, I agreed with that Golden Aura. 2017, very, very solid game. Unless they're actually adding some really good new stuff to 2018, I wouldn't feel a need. In all honesty. Particularly if it's a Halo and you can't turn it off, like I said. I don't know if anybody saw the onboard cameras from practice yesterday, but my goodness, that thing looks bad. They should have seen that coming, that when they turned on the T-cam cameras, the TV telecast, it looked really bad. Formula One management, FOM, should have been awake to that problem. They need to get that fixed pretty quick. Onboard cameras are pretty much unwatchable. Yeah, that's right. They were just awful. They were unwatchable. Like you can hardly see anything. And if I was FOM, I wouldn't be wanting to use those cameras and advertising the fact that the Halos wreck the onboard experience like that. I'd be advising producers to not switch to them until they actually come up with a new way to mount the camera, maybe on the Halo itself, and get a obstruction-free view, because otherwise you're just giving people an even worse impression of the Halo from a marketing perspective. Too quick through there, no grip. Oh, I've got no grip. Oh, that's got past Hamilton again. Oh, I've got rear wing damage. Maybe the DRS is broken. Oops, that's not a good time for that to happen. I read that users want like FIFA 18 to keep going with career mode, but not do more about the game. Yeah, pretty much. The only time I play. The only reason I play, this is going to be tricky because I'm in the middle of a corner. Really the only... Sorry about that. I had something start in the background. There we go. Managed to save it without binning it. Really these sports games I only play for career modes. You know, I play Ashes Cricket, career mode, NBA, career mode, FIFA, career mode, Minecraft, career mode. No, I'm kidding. I don't play as many games as I used to though, with because I work full time and plus I run my own business on the side. I'm a very, very busy guy, so I don't get as much time doing that as I would like to. That's a bad lap. certainly getting pretty low on grip. How many laps are we in? 25. So the halfway point of the race being 29 laps. We might try and get to there on these inters and then pit for a new set of inters. Theoretically, we should be able to get to the end on a one stop at that point. Try not to lose much time in the process. I will read your comment in a second, Espelon. Just give me a second. Let's get to a bit of straight. It's hilarious thing about Halo's happened. The flip-flop industry. Yes, I saw that is sponsoring Force India. Yeah, yep, I saw that. It's pretty funny. Very clever marketing. I heard that a number of the teams are trying to get them for marketing. So, you know, well done Force India. Yeah, well done Force India and their marketing team pulling that one off. Actually, what I'm going to try and do here quickly is fix my microphone. I use... I can't find it at all. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, I agree. In fact, that last year's car was okay, but this year's car looks... I don't like it. It's too bright. Or I shouldn't say that. I should say I preferred last year's salmon color to this year's. This year's really, really bright pink. I should say pink. Pink's not a word, not in English anyway. Renault looks gorgeous. Yes, it does. Best looking car in the grid, probably. Still. Nothing beats the Black Lotus of the 80s, the Johnny Player Special, and the McLaren of the early 2000s. Yep. No argument from me. I do like the McLaren this year. That they've gone all out with their Papaya Spark, as they call it, their orange. Not so sure about the blue, but the orange looks really, really good. The blue's a really, really nice shade of blue, though, so can't fault them for that. But yeah, I still prefer the Renault. I think the Renault looks magnificent. Very, very difficult to screw up a yellow and black car. Sounds good to me. Good thing is that this is getting me all motivated to go back to my career. Where in the career mode I am driving the Renault. Won the championship in my first season, so I turned the difficulty up for the second season. I was at 95 in the first season. So I've gone to 100 in the second season. That's the difficulty I've got it on for this race is at 100. Definitely feel the tyre grip.
Heavy rain will be staying with us for a while now, at least a 20-minute window of heavy rain.
Certainly feel that the tyre grip is now a limiting factor. No one's in the pits yet. Yeah, yep, that's right, it's gone away, so... Must have been a fault with the DRS, which wouldn't have mattered in these weather conditions anyway, so... Happy. I was worried that, like, if it was damaged, I might lose some time in the pit stop if they would try and do some kind of repair or something like that. Ooh, that's not good. Hey, howdy, J-Log. Welcome to the stream.
Our gap behind is 6.9 seconds.
Whoa, 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 that's, that's the most terrifying thing that's happened in the race thus far. Yeah, these rear tyres are pretty shot. I nurse this car to the stop. It was a very close one. There is a chance I need some new race suit after that one. We'll box the end of this lap. Get rid of these destructed inters that were carried from the start of the race. No, I will stay on inters. They're okay. They don't look about it because they're worn out. But I fear that the full wet wouldn't be the right tyre for this condition. It's weird of a thing that is to say, but looking at how wet it is. We've been on inters since the start, and so has the entire grid. So the game says it's the right tyre to be on. So. Yeah, they're pretty bad. All right, so we're in this lap. Very, very easy coast in. We've got a bit of a gap, so I want to.
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit.
Okay. wheel have good synchronize? Yes, it's a good wheel. I like it a lot. It's very responsive. Recommend to anybody, although it is a bit expensive.
Strategy complete.
Come on, it's Melbourne. It's time for different weather. Agree. It should have been different weather after the first lap. Should have been. We should have actually started like this, and then 3 laps in had beautiful sunshine and bone dry track. Yeah, and the tyres were nearly slick. That's right. Oh, so much more grip. I've got a Fanatec Club Sport Wheel 2 with a Formula rim. Very, very good piece of kit. I've had it for, geez, must be 2 years now, I think. Nice. Yeah, it's a good wheel. Good wheel. There's Seb into the pits now. The last I heard, the gap to Seb was about 12 seconds, so... But we had a very, very slow end to our stint. We'll see. That must be Hamilton or Bottas, whoever was the other. Yeah, Hamilton. Oh, Bottas, sorry. Oh, I don't know. Locked up into turn 1. Yeah, it looks like the gaps have remained pretty stagnant. Maybe we've lost a little bit. Oh, we didn't go purple in the first sector. Certainly got a lot more grip now than before. Really want to stick that.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. So the gap to our teammate is 8.9 seconds.
Yeah, so we lost a fair bit of time to Seb at the back end of that first stint. Well done. That's good. Running low on fuel, are we? Strange, our standard fuel. Turn it off. Yeah, it is. It's good. And in terms of the weather, yeah, it's as Golden Aura said, it's been raining a bit in Melbourne this morning. I've read. It might dry out before qualifying. I'm not sure about tomorrow though. Not sure whether I want it, how I feel about it, because obviously, oh geez, there's a lot of traffic ahead. Obviously, with you know, if it's a bit wet today, it might mask a little bit the actual, you know, performance curve of all the cars. That's not good. Interesting line. But it will mean it's probably closer if it's a bit wet, because I'm worried. I don't know how many people here at this earlier in the stream, but I was saying that I'm concerned that Mercedes have a performance advantage over the field. More, you know, that we're going to go back to more of a 15-16 scenario as opposed to a 2017 scenario in terms of competitiveness. Obviously, if it's wet, that will get masked a little bit. Probably the Red Bull will perform better than it otherwise would. But we'll see. I do fear I'm going to lose interest this year. If it's another... Buying the introduction of the Halo with... you know, if it looked like it did after testing, which is Mercedes has a performance advantage and a fuel burn advantage and all that kind of thing, that would be difficult for me to continue to follow the sport as closely as I have up until now, which is, you know, going on a good 30 years. Jolly and Palmer doing God's work down in 18th position. Easy to forget that Palmer's Formula 1 driver. Yeah, I mean, not from performance, but from certainly aesthetically, it looks really bad, and the onboard cameras look horrendous. They haven't adjusted them, so on the onboard cameras, like 1/3 of the screen's taken up by the bloody Halo, and it looks disgusting. What's this? It's too much to ask for a season with 2 teams with a chance to win until Abu Dhabi. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, I agree, 100%. I mean, last year was such an improvement on the previous 3 seasons to that. It would be such a shame if we got to this year and Mercedes would just pull away from everyone again, which I fear is what's going to happen. I just want a competitive sport. I don't care about your hybrid. I don't care about the multitude of technology. I couldn't care less. You know, I just want good looking cars, a close competition. You know, I want 06, you know, 06, 07, 08 with multiple teams in contention. That's all I want. I don't understand why that's so much to ask for. And yet all they've done with the introduction of the hybrids in 2014 and the stupidity that they brought in with the token system, which solidified Mercedes' advantage for 3 seasons straight. You can't say I'm holding up 3 fingers. I accidentally held up 4. It was stupid. You know, it solidified Mercedes' advantage for 3 seasons straight. Gifted them 3 championships, with the teams left with little recourse to catch up. And I thought, you know, that's just an absolute joke. It was a terrible thing to happen for the sport. And you know, last year they took a step back in the right direction. This year I'm not. You know, they've introduced the Halo, and yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Palmer is a commentator now. Well, he should be able to describe crashes and poor driving really well, because he's affluent in both. That's unfair. I'm being uncharitable to Jolien. I'm sorry. Sorry, I just caught the sorry, I didn't see who said it. Where are we? J-Lug from the US excited about Haas. You should be. I think they're in for a good season. They've got a car much closer to the Ferrari. I think they're certainly in for an improvement. I think there's potential they could move ahead of the likes of Force India. Certainly ahead of Williams. Unusual to see interesting to see where Toro Rosso will end up with their new Honda deal. But yes, you should be excited to be a Haas supporter. They've got potential this year to be very consistent point scorers. Maybe even challenge McLaren depending on whether they can sort out their reliability. These Bottas out of the race. That's interesting. Let me just scroll back and have a look at these comments here. Sorry, guys. Blah, 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 blah. Like the season when Hamilton won and Massa on the last curve, or the one where Hamilton, Raikkonen, and Alonso battled to the end. Absolutely, that's what I want. Let's do that. Haas have made some nice strides in the off-season. Absolutely have. Haas has a lot of potential. Yep. Then again, Haas has done well past 2 Aussie Grand Prix. Yeah, I mean, the Sauber and Haas. Sauber before that, and then Haas, you know, they benefit from the early season attrition. Home Max has better luck with his car this year, don't we all? We want fast drivers to be able to maximize that. Interesting fact, it seems that the US is the country that has the most drivers in F1's history, more than Britain. Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I'm not convinced that's true. US drivers. I think that would only be true if you were including when the Indy 500 was a Formula 1 race. I think you'll find that most drivers in Formula 1 have been British. Oh, bloody hell, no grip. So US Grand Prix drivers that I've seen, Alexander Rossi, Scott Speed, and then you have to go back to, wow, Mario Andretti. I think Andretti was classed as American at the end of his career. Dan Gurney. And then obviously, you know, as I said, I think it's only true if you're counting all the drivers that participated in the Indy 500 when it was a Formula 1 race. And I still don't think that would be, no, that can't be true. Certainly more Americans than perhaps Spaniards, maybe. Pedro de la Rosa, Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz. Even that would be a stretch, in fact, thinking about it. So, yeah. In fact, there's probably more Italians than Americans. If you think of Trulli, Fisichella, certainly Andretti, where he came from, was Italy. When he started his career, he was living in Italy. Yeah, that'd be cool, J-Lug. I mean, we had, One Inch Man was talking before about how upset he is, or how disappointing it is that for the first time in 40-odd years there's no Brazilian on the grid. I'm lucky because, you know, we've got Daniel Ricciardo. So, you know, as an Australian, I'm lucky in that regard. Formula 1 should be a meritocracy, you know. It should be a have to be amongst the best of the best to get there. So yeah, I agree with that. Most of my my Formula 1 life has been cheering for driver rather than team. You know, for me, back when I was younger in the 90s, you know, I was a big Jean Alesi fan. After obviously being you know, Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost and those guys who were dominating when I first started following the sport.
Okay, the gap behind is 5.4 seconds.
He made that hard, didn't he? You know, I was a Lacey and then Fisichella, and then well, I mean, I even worked for Fissy for a period of time on doing some website stuff for him, so that was cool. Got to meet the guy, that was really great. Met a lot of F1 drivers because of that. That was nice. So, but after Fisichella retired, you know, I haven't really. I followed Mark Webber, obviously, as a compatriot more than anything else, and as an underdog in that Red Bull. You know, after the switch from the Bridgestone to the Pirellis, and then he couldn't, you know, with those tyres and with the blown diffuser, he couldn't keep up with Seb. He lost his you know, because drivers have, you know, strengths and weaknesses, and he lost the strengths he had over Sebastian in like 2009 and 2010. So that was tough to watch because he just wasn't good enough to be able to challenge Sebastian, which is a shame. And then obviously we've had Daniel since then, and Daniel's just a really nice, likable guy, so he's very easy to support. But mainly, you know, the guy I'm watching most closely nowadays is Fernando, which is weird because I hated Fernando when he was teammates with Giancarlo at Renault. You know, they were, you know, because he just beat him. You know, and you make excuses as fans. You're like, oh yeah, you know, they designed the car to suit Fernando better, blah 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 blah. But in the end, Alo's just a boss, and you know, I came to accept it. And now I actually really like the guy. I wish I had, you know, had as much admiration for him when I actually met him. That would have been good. Would have enjoyed it more. But anyway, them's the breaks. But yeah, nowadays I wish that Fernando had a race-winning capable car. And I haven't enjoyed the Mercedes era, if I'm honest. Alright, I see the comments are scrolling by really fast. I just want to get some laps under my belt. You know, we've still got 20 to go. I'm gonna be here for a long time at this rate. No, that can't be true. 158? Sorry if that's been refuted down beneath. No. There's hardly been that many drivers in the history of the sport. As I said, only if you count when there was crossover events with Indy. Yeah, I agree. Whoops, hello, I've got another bloody script starting. Actually, it gives me a chance to quickly check these in if I've been booted out of the game quickly. Read on the website, I don't think any country would have more drivers than GBR. That's right, just wish there was a driver from the US. Oh, I think we already went through these ones. I don't mind cheering for Haas, but cheering for, yeah, saw that one. 158, as I said, that can't be true unless they're actually counting crossover events and then every driver who participated in those. It's the country that has the worst drivers' championship relations. 158 to Phil Hill and Andretti. Okay, Hill was the other one I was thinking of earlier. Yeah, right now I'm hoping for Alonso or Raikkonen to win. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down with that. Those are my favourites. Yep, no problem from me. Alonso's the best driver by far. I agree. Yes, I guess it's counting the crossover. I agree. Alonso would be so competitive if he was in a better car. Yes, he would be. The advantage he would have over previous generation Fernando would be he would be so hungry now. You know, he found his way into a competitive car very quickly when he was younger, and it's very easy to not to not respect how rare that is for a driver. And I think he wouldn't waste it now. Let me put it to you that way. He would maximise it like he did at Ferrari. You know, those seasons when he was in the second or third best car, and you know, still challenging for the championship against Seb. Just on the back of, you know, being consistent and getting a result every weekend. Yeah, I know he's doing the WEC, so that will be good to see. And he could have almost won the Indy 500 as well. That's crazy last year. Just absolutely nuts to think that, you know, he was in contention to win it. But as a bit of a Japanophile, I was happy enough to see Takuma Sato win it. Yeah, to me, he's the best driver on the grid. Alonso and Verstappen and Mercedes, gee, sparks would fly then, wouldn't it? I mean, Verstappen might even have a speed edge, but Alonso would be far more consistent, make less mistakes, and battle cleaner without reverting to some questionable tactics. So, I don't know how many of you, once again, were here before when I said this, but one of the things I said was that this is a big year for Ricciardo, and why I say that isn't so much because, yes, I know that, you know, there's probably a seat opening up at Ferrari next year, although I kind of expect that Leclerc will go into there if he has a good season at Sauber. Moreover with Max, if Max beats Ricciardo handily this year, you know, then obviously what's going to happen is, you know, Max will become de facto number one at Red Bull, and Daniel will have to make a decision about his career. So, and his value to the likes of a Mercedes or a Ferrari is going to be rated pretty significantly against how he performs against Verstappen. And I think he can perform very well against Verstappen. This is dangerous. Don't race me. I think he can perform pretty well against Verstappen, but he's gonna have to pull stops out. I think he's a better racer than Verstappen. I think Max is better over one lap, and Daniel's better over a race. But what they both really need is a reliable car. I mean, start of Max's season last year was wrecked by reliability, and the end of Daniel's season was wrecked by reliability. So to have a true battle between the two, you need to have they both need to have a reliable season. And unfortunately, with 3 engines this year, which is just absolutely insane from the rule makers of this sport. I mean, I'm so over these engine limits. I can't even describe. Like, what a waste of time of a rule set that is, to start giving grid penalties based on reliability. Just get out of here. Get the bloody helicopter on. I hate it. So... purple sector out of nowhere. Wild purple sector appears. Leclerc, I've just seen the message, so just have a quick glance at the comments. Leclerc is very, very good. If he has a good season at Sauber, I fully expect him to replace Kimi. He's a very, very good driver. If he's scruffy this season and makes a lot of mistakes, then there's an opportunity for someone like Ricciardo at Ferrari for sure. But Leclerc should beat Ericsson. He should beat him. Yeah, you can't read anything into what happens on Friday, honestly. His first time at Melbourne, in a pretty tricky car, I think. Got to gauge him across the season, and he'll probably start behind. This is like the Ocon Perez thing, right? For the last couple of seasons. Going to Force India, Ocon, he starts out behind Perez, and as he gets used to the team, gets used to the car, gets used to working with the people he's working with, gets more experience. You end up going, well, okay, so at that point, Ocon's probably better than Perez now. I'd back Ocon to beat Perez this year. And you'd expect the same from Leclerc, so he may very well start the season at, it's dead last, but it's where he ends up, what sort of growth he shows through the season. No one's expecting him to win the championship in the Sauber. I mean, it's not a game like this. He's got to start out with where he's at, and he's got to show improvement. And if he moves ahead of Ericsson, which I would. We do have a fair bit of time left in this race, don't we? Up. Yeah, I mean, you can't gauge it based on yesterday. Just because he's dead last in FP2, he's not the worst driver on the grid. He might be the inferior driver in the worst car, but that doesn't mean that when we get to Abu Dhabi, that's going to be the case. And I fully expect it not to be. As I said, I expect he'll beat Ericsson. as he gets more experience. In all honesty, I think Giovinazzi was a find for them last year. It's a shame that he couldn't find a place in the grid, because I think Giovinazzi had a lot of talent. I think he showed that in Melbourne last year when he subbed for Verline. I know he had the accident in China and all that kind of thing. Didn't do so good in round 2. But yeah, I think that kid definitely has a F1 pedigree. Yeah, I mean, the Saubers sucked last year. I mean, you can't read much into that. The reason they didn't get points is not because Ericsson is an awful driver, it's because the Sauber was an awful car. They'll probably struggle this year as well, if I had to guess. But they'll have more money, so that you know, money's worth speed in Formula 1, so... Yes, they are very slow in the game. If we're talking about Sauber still, very slow in the game. I started my career with Renault, mainly because, you know, it wouldn't be completely out of the realms of possibility for a Renault driver to win a championship, like it would be for a Sauber. And second of all, I just really love the car. Beautiful car. Livery's just really nice. Yep, McLaren does look cool this year. Sorry if I'm just cherry picking comments. I'm just seeing stuff as I drive down the straight. I will go through the comments once I either pause or the race comes to an end. Yeah, I agree. Lucas Di Grassi was a very good driver. Wasted in the cars he was in. I think the same is true for Jean-Eric Vergne and Sébastien Buemi as well. You know, they were at Toro Rosso when that team was very very cutthroat with its driver selection. I don't know if either of them are as good as Max Verstappen or Carlos Sainz. I think Carlos Sainz is one of the better drivers on the grid as well. I think Carlos is very good. If he ever gets a shot in a championship winning car, I would expect him to be very competitive, or a championship contending car, or a race win contending car. But Buemi and Vergne were both very good drivers too. I think they both showed that in Formula E, where the standard's quite high when you look at the grid there as well. If not consistently higher than F1's, in all honesty. That could be certainly argued and not laughed off the table. I mean, Formula 1 is so much about the team you're at. I mean, you know, I don't think, even after 2016, and, you know, with all respect to Nico Rosberg, I don't think anyone thinks that Rosberg's better and Vettel or Alonso, or even Max, or even Daniel, you know. Very solid driver, but it's... Formula 1 carves out all those... Formula 1 is, yeah. I mean, you're telling me to consider changing tyres. I'm doing purple sectors. Oh, and then I'm off the road down here. Maybe they're not wrong. Alright, let's read some comments and I'll think about changing tyres. Where are we? Bloody hell. Got to go back a while here. You guys have been busy. Then again, it's inconsistent, which is good. That's right. I miss Kimi radio quotes. We all will. Ericsson had no points last year. I think, yeah, I'll comment on that. Kimi quotes are the best. Nasser was good too. He certainly was. Felipe Nasser was a very, very good driver. Career with them, blah, blah. It's nice for me because I don't know all the tracks. Yep, that's the biggest thing. Renault has a nice livery, but McLaren this year looks cool. Yes, it does. So you don't take pressure. That's correct. They gave Bruno Senna the Williams just because of his uncle. That's right. Bruno Senna wasn't a bad driver though. Maybe Degrassi probably overall better. He wasn't practicing racing for years and got a better chance than Degrassi. Yes, this is one of the reasons Brazil is out this year. Yes, it is. Yeah, when you can adjust the difficulty. Yep. Sainz was a good surprise. Yes, very good. Rosberg was a better version of Bottas. That's about it. Yep, agreed. As I said, not taken away from him. He's a Formula 1 world champion, and no one will ever take that away from him. But yeah, I mean, being in a great car like that can... Look at Jenson Button in 2009. I mean, we saw how good Button was in the rest of his career. We saw him in good cars. We saw him in bad cars. He's solid. But in 2009, the first 6 races, he looked unbeatable. That's Formula 1. Anyway, we've got 10 laps of this to go. I'm not really feeling the need to stop for tyres, if we're honest. I think I can handle it. For now, at least.
Our gap to our teammate is 23.2 seconds.
Biggest thing in these conditions, guys, is don't lock up. Make sure you've got a good feeling for your brake pedal. You want some actual driving advice? The easiest thing in the world to do in these conditions is to lock up and then spear straight off the track. Too many downshifts there. So make sure you've got a good feel for your brake pedal. That's the biggest thing in the rain. Make sure you're not just jumping on the brakes and... Yeah, there's certainly struggling for grip out here now. Now, because my microphone's not working, I can't request the pit stop, so we'll just have to hope it works. Well, we've lost the lead. This is going to make it interesting.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres. We're running in excess of fuel. We can turn up the engine to mix mode 3 if you need it. Turn fuel to rich.
Certainly going to make the end of the race interesting anyway. Bit of fun, as long as Hamilton doesn't pit. Auto P10. Obviously had a shocker. How far are we behind Hamilton? 10 seconds.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap for the race. The gap to teammate is 6.8 seconds. Heavy rain to stay a while. Doesn't look like it's moving anytime soon.
Oh wow, we've nearly caught Hamilton. I wasn't even paying attention to the gaps until then. won't be catching him when I drive like that. There's Felipe being in the barrier. This looks like it's going to be over pretty quickly, doesn't it? It wasn't even difficult. That's a shame. I was hoping that it was going to challenge me. He might yet. Oh, locked up. Run deep. Seeing some Kimmy quotes in the chat, guys. There better be appropriate use of the word bois, which I think is a word. I think it qualifies. It's in my dictionary at least. This is good. So this is going to finish just in time for me to have some lunch, and then knuckle in to watch Free Practice 3, which is on in about 32 minutes. So I was thinking I might go to the Japanese Grand Prix this year as a Japanophile, like I said before. I was at the US Grand Prix last year. I hadn't been to the US before, so it was cool to go to Austin and see Dallas and Houston and Austin. It was good. Oops, another thing starting. Sorry guys, I have a whole bunch of scripts that run for my business every day. And they start on cue. There's four separate ones. So I chose a bad time to stream, sorry about that. Hence the constant pausing. Bad place for that to happen. Murphy's Law. At one of my friend I went to Austin with this year, also lives here in Canberra in Australia. He was saying he wants to go back next year, but this time he wants to spend a year saving up, so we can get like the really nice plane tickets over, and the really nice Formula One paddock tickets. Make a good trip out of it. It's a pretty expensive way to do it, but I'm considering it. But I'd like to go to the Japanese Grand Prix. I go to Japan every year, so I'd like to be over there in October and go to Suzuka. it was fun. I had a as is usually the case if I go to when I go to a race, generally, and it's one of the bad sides about Formula One is that it's a really complicated sport to understand. Like the rules are complicated, the cars are complicated, even the sessions themselves, particularly qualifying, can be quite complicated for people who don't watch it all the time. So I usually end up having, talking to a group of like 10 people, telling them actually what's going on. So that's what happened last year at the US. So you just end up in conversations with people, and they're like, oh hey man, how does this work, or what's going on now, or when are they going to pit, and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Spa is your dream Grand Prix to attend. I have to agree with that. Spa is my favourite track. Spa and Suzuka are my two favourite tracks. Drivers' tracks. I used to live just like 2 kilometres away from Albert Park, obviously where I'm driving right now. Actually, one of those high rises you see in the distance is one was one I lived in. I've been to this track quite a lot. Have a lot of grip. Ultimate lap though. We're almost done. Has been a bad return for me in F1 2017. Probably helped by the wet weather, although I would have thought I'd be more competitive in the dry than I am in the wet. So,
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
it's certainly been a challenge to keep the car on the track in these conditions. I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that. No flashbacks or anything like that, of course. So. Not a lot of grip right now either.
This is your final lap of the race. So the gap to our teammate is 26.6 seconds.
Yeah, you probably don't have to bother telling me that on the last lap of the race, buddy. Not like a risk to me now, is he? To bring it home at this point. Don't bin it. Oh, look at that. Going purple. Bringing it home. There we go.
That's a race win. You've really been great today.
Well done, guys. You stuck through it all the way with me. Let's have a look at your comments whilst the race ending stuff goes on.
A great win then.
All right. We're going to go all the way back. Barrichello lost a button. Oh, my God. That was the worst year for Rubens. He had to win that He was the most experienced driver in the best car. I could not believe that season. Yeah, he was really unlucky in the first part of in the first 6 races, right? And then he was better than Jensen in the last half of the season, but he just gave up too many points in the first half of the season. I think he had some reliability issues. He was really unlucky in the first part and then couldn't make it up in the back half of the season, although I think he outdrove Button in the back half of the season. Immersion broken. Kimmy's not. And where's all the water gone off the car? I just spent 2 hours driving in the wet. What's your thoughts on the helmet? It protects my head. Yep. I was having a shit. Yep, that's about right. This Grand Prix. I'm from Texas. Cool. I really like Texas, by the way, J-Lug. If I was going to move to America, which has occurred to me, you know, I'd like to make my business international.
I think it's got to be Kimi Räikkönen. He's
So,
not really spectacular, but he quietly gets the job done.
look at that fastest lap. Massively faster than everyone else. US looked amazing in 2017. Correct. It was really good to be there. Blah, 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 blah. Spa's I said that one. Love Singapore. Yeah, Singapore's not far to go from Australia either. It's good. Hamilton's over back. White flag. So Kimi has race day of 1. It was wet. It's okay. Palmer finished the race. This is not out. I know, immersion broken. Kimi was excited and Palmer finished the race. Get out of here. Texas is the place to be. Agreed. Great for business and cost of living is excellent. Yeah, I've heard it's got is it not, if not the best, but I think like second best tax rates or something in the US. Which is, it's weird for an Australian because we've got a GST since we've had since the 90s. All our tax rates are consistent across all the states. So it's, you know, now it's, you look at the US and go, oh yeah, no, they got different tax rates depending on the state. Yeah. So yeah, I really like Texas. And everyone, you know, before I went there, everyone's like, oh man, you gotta watch for Americans. Like, to be honest, like Americans I've met overseas, like a lot of them have been pretty loud and obnoxious. But everyone I met in the States was just fantastic. Just great people. Really, really nice. So maybe it's just those coastal cities you got to look out for. You know, the red state and proud of it, as you should be too. So, it's, yeah, there was very authentic, I guess is how I'd say. It was just a nice place to be. It was good. People were great. And that's that. So, too many people. I think Texas is more like Australia, where there's just you know, we're a country the size of America basically. You know, with a population of 25 million people. You know, there's hardly anyone here. You know, there's a number of places you can go to in Australia, and you legit will not see another person for hours. It's weird. Yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, the best people I've ever met from the States. I mean, I've met a number of people from the States over the years with work and all that kind of thing. The best people I've met have been Texans. So, you know, good mate of mine I met through work. He's a Texan. He's a really, really tough guy. Yeah. So, anyway, look at that. We had fun. We won a race. I can't actually believe I did that. Yeah, you should definitely do it, 1 Inch Man. It's I really liked it there. It's a long way to go from Australia though. Like from Australia, it's a 14.5-hour flight from Sydney to Fort Worth. So yeah, it's a long way to go. It's a long time on a plane. Anyway, that was good fun, guys. I'm gonna call it there because I'm gonna go quickly eat some food. Got 19 minutes before the start of FP3, so. Can't you just walk? You can just walk to America from Brazil, yeah? It's not that far. It'd be no worse than when I fly to Japan. Japan's about 8 hours. 8 hours from the top of Australia on plane. So, there you go. Anyway, as I said, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been really cool. You guys have been great. It's been good to talk to you whilst I did that race. I think what I'll do is I'll start, I'll get back into my career, so I'll start streaming that. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you subscribe so you get messages and stuff when I do it. Yeah, that's it's been really cool. So I'm really thankful for you guys for participating and keep me company. And yeah, I hope you all enjoy Free Practice 3, and let's hope that it actually turns out that it's a terrific F1 season and we're all worried about nothing and we all ignore the halo or they paint it, I don't know, they paint it a color that makes it invisible. That'd be really good. Anyway, as I said, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.